I catadioptri vanno accesi insieme alle luci di posizione. The answer to this question is falso. Vanno is a word you say in 100% falso question. In this video, I covered how you'll be able to tell if a question is vero or falso, and also how you'll be able to tell if a question is 80% falso and 20% vero. In today's video, we'll be looking into questions that have those words in them. So I'll give you time to answer the question. If you spot any of these words in any of these questions, let me know under the comment section if the answer is vero or falso. And also, if you have not watched that video yet, there will be a link under this video which will take you to that video where I covered how you will be able to tell if a question is vero o falso. Chiunque non abbia potuto evitare la caduta o lo spargimento di materiale pericolose deve tra l'altro eseguire segnali manuali per impedire il transito dei veicoli della parte dove non è stato posto il segnale mobile di pericolo. The answer to this question here is vero. Like I said, anytime you see impedire in a question, just know that the answer to that question is 100% vero. And if you're new here, you have not watched that video yet, there will be a link that will take you to that video which explains to you the words you need to look out for in a vero, falso, 80% falso, and 20% vero questions. Question number 2. Il delineatore raffigurato indica una strada chiusa. The question said this sign here indicates a road that is closed, which is falso. And remember, we said if you see chiusa in a question, it means that question is 100% falso. Question number 3. In vicinanza di un attraversamento pedonale, il conducente deve considerare che i pedoni potrebbero fermarsi improvvisamente sulle strisce dell'attraversamento pedonale. The answer to this question here is vero. Like we said, if you see improvvisamente in a question, it means that question is 100% vero. And this question says, if a driver is driving and is close to zebra crossing, the driver needs to put it into consideration that the foot can stop unexpectedly on that zebra crossing, which is vero. Chi è pienamente e civilmente responsabile di un sinistro stradale può incorrere nella sospensione della patente di guida. The answer to this question here is vero. Remember, we said anytime you are reading a question and you come across incorrere, it means the answer to that question is 100% vero. The question said they can suspend your driving license if you are involved in an accident that leads to injuries of so many people on the road, which is vero. If you are involved in a high accident on the road, it can actually lead to them suspending your driving license. La luce gialla fissa ci obbliga ad arrestarsi in ogni caso senza impegnare l'incrocio. The answer to this question here is falso. Remember, we said anytime you see in ogni caso in a question, it means the answer is 80% falso and 20% vero. But in this case, the answer to this question here is falso. Question said the yellow light tells you to stop in any case without you entering into that junction, which is falso. Because if the yellow light is on and you're already in that junction, you can still leave the junction. And also, if you are sure you'll pass the road without the lights turning red, you can still leave the junction. But you need to stop if you know you can't pass that traffic light before the lights turn red, which means it only tells you to stop in time. If you're already in the junction, you can still leave the junction. If you can make it through without the light turning back to red, you can still pass. But if you know you can't make it through, then you need to stop. La revisione della patente di guida può essere disposta quando il titolare incorre per 2 volte in un anno una infrazione che comporta la perdita di almeno 5 punti. The question is if you involve in anything that make them deduct 5 points from your driving license twice in 2 years, they will carry out revision of that driving license? The answer to the question is actually false, because if you involve in something that made them deduct 5 points from your driving license 3 times in 1 year, then they'll tell you to go for revision. Remember, 3 times in 1 year, if they deduct 5 points from your driving license 3 times in 1 year, then you go for revision. In presenza della striscia di guida in figura, il veicolo A può andare in qualsiasi direzione. The answer to this question here is vero. This is why you need to study all the argomenti. In this case, this question is from precedenza all'incrocio. You know, when it comes to qualsiasi, you can see this word in 80% falso and 20% vero. But in this case, the answer is vero, because at this junction we have striscia discontinua. And if you are driving a vehicle and you get to a junction where there is striscia discontinua, tratteggiate, like the line broken into pieces, the vehicles can choose to go to any direction they want to go, because they can cross through those lines. But if you are driving and in that junction there is striscia continua, which means the line is a continual line, it's not broken into pieces, then you need to go straight, because you can't turn to any direction. In this case, the answer to this question here is vero. Si devono usare l'indicatore di direzioni ogni volta che si deve effettuare una manovra di svolta. The answer to this question here is vero. Remember, we said ogni volta is a word you come across in a question that is 80% falso and 20% vero. In this case, the answer to this question here is vero, because the question said they always need to use the trafficator anytime they want to move from point A to point B, which means if you want to change from corsia A to corsia B, you need to use the trafficator. If you want to turn to any direction, you also need to use the trafficator. La velocità dei veicoli deve essere regolata in modo da non causare intralcio alla circolazione. The answer to this question here is vero. Remember, we said anytime you are reading a question and you come across causare, it means the answer to that question is 100% vero. In this case, the question said you need to regulate your speed in a way that you will create danger or roadblock, or rather traffic on the road, which is actually vero. In presenza del segnale raffigurato è vietato sorpassare qualsiasi veicolo. The answer to this question here is falso, because qualsiasi is a word you will see in 80% falso and 20% vero. But in this case, the answer is falso, because the question said, in the presence of this sign, it is prohibited to overtake any vehicle, which is falso. Nelle strade extraurbane principali possono circolare solo alcune categorie di veicoli a motore. The answer to this question here is vero, because alcune is a word you will see in 100% vero. In this case, the question is letting you know, in strada extraurbana principale, certain category of vehicle with engine can transit, which means not every vehicles that have engine can transit in autostrada and also in strada extraurbana principale, which is vero. If you make it to this part of the video, what are you waiting for? Click the like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also on your notification bell so that anytime I drop a video, you will get notified. Fuori dai centri abitati è facoltativo presegnalare anche di giorno un carico accidentalmente caduto sulla carreggiata mediante in segnale di pericolo, quando non può essere visto nettamente a 100 metri di distanza. The answer to this question here is falso. Remember, facoltativo is a word you see in 100% falso question. The question said, if your goods fell on the road outside the living area, even during the day, It is optional for you to actually put segnale mobile di pericolo to tell the vehicles on the road that there is a danger here, which is false. So remember, it's not optional. Facultative or mean optional. It's not optional. It's something you must do. First, you need to find a way to remove the load from the road, or maybe find a way to move them out of the carreggiata so you make way for vehicles to pass. But let's say you were not able to remove them from the road. Then you need to put mobile di pericolo that sends signals to the vehicles that there is a danger here. They need to be able to see that mobile di pericolo like 100 meters away. In that way, you are sure you are not causing accidents on that part of the road. So the next question we have here is: quando il vigile si dispone di profilo con le braccia aperte come in figura, si deve obbligatoriamente proseguire diritto. The answer to this question is falso. Obbligatoriamente is a word you see in 100% falso question. So if you're reading a question and you come across this word, it means falso. Really looking at the junction, you can see the vigile on this position is equivalent to the green light, which means the vehicles can go to any direction they want to go. They can go straight, turn left, and also turn right. Una frenatura poco efficiente può essere causata da eccessive e ripetute frenate. The answer to this question here is vero. Remember, frenante is a word you see in 100% vero. And the question says, if you use the brake too much, or rather you use the brake in a wrong manner, it can lead to the brake non-functioning well, which is vero. The next question we have here is: rispetto ai veicoli che precedono in senso della freccia, la striscia continua centrale in figura si trova ogni volta che si supera un passaggio a livello. Ogni volta is a word you see in 80% falso and 20% vero. In this case, the answer to this question here is falso. The question says the continual line at the middle of the road close to the vehicle. You will always see it anytime you pass un passaggio a livello, which means anytime you pass a train track, which is falso. Il conducente che intende sorpassare deve unicamente accertarsi che non vi sia nessun segnale di divieto di sorpasso. The answer to this question here is falso. Remember, unicamente is a word you say in 100% falso. The question said a driver that wants to overtake another vehicle on the road should only put it into consideration if there is no divieto di sorpasso, which means if there is no sign that prohibits overtaking, which is falso, because before you overtake a vehicle on the road, you need to put so many things into consideration. For example, you need to be sure the road is wide enough for you to overtake. You need to be sure there is no vehicle coming from the opposite direction, or rather, there is no vehicle already overtaking on that part of the road. And also, you need to be sure that you can see clearly on that road. You need to be sure you will be able to cover that overtaking without you creating danger for any vehicle on the road. And also, you also need to watch out if there is no segnale di divieto. So the question says you only need to watch out if there is no segnale di divieto di sorpasso, which is falso. Il conducente che intende effettuare inversioni di marcia su una strada a doppio senso può compiere la manovra anche con scarsa visibilità, se la linea di mezziera è tratteggiata. The answer to this question here is falso. Mezzeria is a word you see in 100% falso. The question said, if a driver wants to take a U-turn and the road is doppio senso di circolazione, the driver can take that U-turn even though the driver can't see clearly on that part of the road, which is falso. Remember, if you can't see clearly on that road, you can't do a U-turn because you can't actually tell the vehicle coming from the opposite direction. Let's say there is dew and you can't even see 50 meters away from your vehicle. How are you sure there is no other vehicle coming from the opposite direction? Before you take a U-turn, you need to be able to see clearly the road. You need to be able to show there is no vehicle coming. You need to be able to show you will take that U-turn without you actually creating danger for any vehicle on that road. So the answer to this question here is falso. Il segnale raffigurato richiede di inserire una marcia adeguatamente bassa. The answer to this question here is vero. Richiede is a word you see in 100% vero. The question is, if you're driving and you come across this sign, it actually tells you to put your vehicle on a low jar, which is vero. If you are descending from the hill, you putting your vehicle in a low jar helps to break down the speed of that vehicle. In that way, if there should be a danger on the road, you will be able to stop in time. Brusche variazioni di velocità comportano maggiore consumo di carburante. The answer to this question here is vero. Brusche is a word you see in 100% vero questions. So the question said if you change your speed up and down, which means you drive fast, you go higher, you go low, you go higher, it consumes a lot of fuel, which is actually vero. That's why if you want to limit the consumption of fuel, you need to find a way to drive your vehicle in a coastal speed. If you drive your vehicle in a coastal speed, that will reduce the consumption of fuel. Se un autotreno intende svoltare a destra in una strada stretta, i conducenti degli altri veicoli devono tenere presente che potrebbe diminuire notevolmente la velocità. The answer to this question is vero. Potrebbe is a word you see in 100% vero question. In tratti di strada in curva devono essere percorsi con il pedale della frizione abbassato. The answer to this question is falso. Frizioni is a word you see in 100% falso question. I catadioptri vanno accesi insieme alle luci di posizione. The answer to this question is falso. Vanno is a word you see in 100% falso question. The question said, luci di posizione and catadioptri turns on at the same time, which is falso. Gli specchi retrovisori centrali e laterali di un autoveicolo devono essere regolati dopo che è stata regolata la posizione del sedile di guida. The answer to this question is vero. Sedile is a word you see in 100% vero question. And in this case, the question is telling you you need to regulate the side mirrors and also the center mirror after you must have regulated the seat, which is vero, because you regulating the seat first tells you the position you need to be while driving. So if you are sure that you are okay with the position of the seat, then you can now regulate the side mirrors and also the center mirror. Because if you regulate the mirrors first before regulating the seats, that can actually lead to you not seeing clearly on the road. Then you need to regulate them again. So the first thing you do if you enter the car, you regulate your seat. Make sure you are okay with the position of the seat before you actually regulate the side mirrors and the center mirror. The last question we have here is: il pannello in figura deve essere applicato in ogni caso il cui incarico spogge posteriormente anche se di poco. The answer to this question is vero. In ogni caso is a word you see in 80% falso and 20% vero. In this case, they are letting you know this panel here needs to be placed in the vehicle if you are carrying load longer than the vehicle from the back, even though it's just few meters, because it serves as a way of you telling the vehicle in the back that there is a danger in the front, so they should drive with caution. Okay, like I told you yesterday, if you want to study for this patenting thing, you need to start by covering all the topic first. we have like 25 topics. So all you need to do is to start from La Strada, like we discussed, cover everything on La Strada and do quiz based on just La Strada. If you are sure you cannot get 2-3 error from La Strada, or rather 4 error, you cannot proceed to Pericolo. Cover everything in Pericolo, read everything on Pericolo, then do quiz on Pericolo. Now you cannot do quiz on La Strada and Pericolo together because now you have covered those two topics. Continue like that. Do the same with obbligo, do the same with precedenza, indicazioni, agente di traffico, and all. Then you can focus on general quiz. In that way, you will get used to all the topic. Hope you get it. In that way, you will get used to all the topic. So if you are reading a question and you come across a question from pericolo, obbligo, indicazioni, agente di traffico, precedenza all'incrocio, or even La Strada, you will be able to tell if the answer is vero or falso because now you know the difference between all the topics. Don't get me wrong. You can also do it by just focusing on general quiz, but that will take you more time. I think it's okay for you to just read all the topic, do the quiz based on each topic. When you're done with the topics, then you can now focus on general quiz. It only takes you 2 months. And in 2 months, you come back to thank me. Take care and I'll see you guys in my next class. Okay guys, that will be all for today and I hope you like the video. And if you do, watch this video here which covers how you'll be able to tell if a question is vero or falso. And also let me know that in the comment section if there is any topic you want us to cover. Hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.